be resuming the session, and it is my pleasure to introduce Fred Hamelin, who is the manager of Quality Systems section of the Medical Device Bureau at Health Canada. Fred has been with Health Canada since 2002, and congratulations to close to 20 years of public service. Fred participated in the development of the all-important ISO 13485 2016 in the medical device world as a part of the GHTS, and currently represent Canada on the MDSAP consortium. Please welcome Fred.
Thank you, Juan. Welcome to my home, everyone. I hope everyone's keeping safe and well. Juan or somebody else, please let me know if the audio doesn't sound great at any point. So I've been asked to provide a bit of a discussion today, a bit of an overview of how we're handling the quality aspect of the COVID-19 interim order, because as you'll see, there are some sort of special situations where we have to work a bit harder to make things fit. So without any further ado, I'll start with a bit of background on what this interim order is for those of you that aren't necessarily familiar with it, what sort of the goal is, where we're kind of going with that. I'll talk a bit about what the QMS requirements are under the interim order. And then we'll get into sort of a discussion of what's acceptable in terms of evidence of quality under the interim order, again, depending on the situation of the specific applicant. I'll have a few considerations or things to think about for people that are involved in this process, which, I think kind of link up well with some of the other talks by the other speakers. So in terms of background, on March 18th of this year, the Minister of Health published the interim order respecting the importation and sale of medical devices for use in relation to COVID-19. So interim orders are something which are permitted under the Food and Drugs Act and the Statutory Instrument Act, being an order in council. So essentially the Minister writes something that is sort of a rule or a law that's only for a brief period of time to deal with complex or emerging situations. So this particular interim order, I'll probably just call it the IO from now on, because I'm a civil servant and we all really like acronyms very much. So the IO provides an expedited process for authorizing the importation sale of medical devices for use in relation to COVID-19. And it can also be used to authorize expanded uses in relation to the pandemic. Now, this is key because it's not specifically applicable to any medical product. When applying for an authorization under the IO, the applicant has to explain why this is something that is useful in the context of the pandemic. And so you will see a lot of, obviously we've seen a lot of things like PPE. We've seen a lot of various tests, whether they are PCR tests or some of the antibody tests now, but as well other things which, and of course ventilators, which was a big one. But of course, a lot of other things come into play that some people sometimes don't realize. Dialysis is an issue, especially for patients which are ventilated for a long time. So we've seen some dialysis products come in. We've seen some innovative products in terms of point of care diagnosis, whether they're CBCs that are point of care, to sort of help isolate patients and not have to have centralized lab services and various things of the sort. As well as different patient management, case management approaches in terms of software and devices, monitoring and remote monitoring. And again, the idea being, if you have a patient who's actively infected with COVID-19, how can you isolate them and still monitor them and whatnot? So we've seen a lot of, quite a few applications come in. I think the last time I checked, it was something like 1,600 or so. Now, not all of them obviously get approved, but we had quite a few. And under the IO, the authorization lasts for 12 months, so a year, or until such time as it is withdrawn by the minister for whichever reason that could possibly come up in terms of safety or effectiveness or anything of the type. And also, I'd like to just point out that there are parallel interim orders to do with